Sports are easy to disagree on. Let's see what happens when sports talk hosts talk about something they agree on.
No, hold on. I'm saying drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Well, I disagree. I think drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Come on, man. Wait, I think we're saying the same thing.
Oh, so, what do we do now?
Everyone agrees that drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings by new customer surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary.
Welcome to Women Winning Divorce with your host, Heather Quick. Heather brings over 20 years of law experience that advocates and empowers women to achieve happier and healthier lives. Each week, we provide knowledge and guidance on different aspects of family law to help lead women through the difficult and emotional legal challenges that they are facing. Listen in as she discusses issues including divorce, custody, alimony, paternity, narcissism, mediation, and other family law issues to provide insight on the journey of women winning divorce. Welcome to the show. I'm Julie Morgan, and I'm joined by your host, Heather Quick. Heather, how are you today?
I am great, Julie. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It seems like it's been forever since I saw you last, but it really wasn't that long ago.
I know, but when we get busy, it does seem like it's been a while, but it's just been a busy week.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. And by the way, I'm still trying to find that fun in my life, but we're not going to go there.
All righty. Okay. I'm glad you reminded me. I know we can make it happen.
Yeah, you're supposed to help me with that one.
You're right. And I will.
All righty. So today's topic, paid consultation versus a free consultation and what to expect during your consultation, right?
Yes, a lot. And it may not sound exciting or interesting, but I'm going to do my very best to help this be of interest to our listeners.
So tell me, are consultations free?
Well, it does depend on the firm. And, I think we'll start with what is a consultation? Because I think a lot of people may or may not know. And, that's why I do like this topic, because so many individuals, particularly, going through a divorce or about to, hiring a divorce attorney, they have not ever hired an attorney. They have never really had cause to. Maybe in closing a house, there was the attorney there. They were at the attorney's office. Maybe they've done their wills, but they've never really had a lot of experience with lawyers. And so it's, again, we've talked a lot about TV and movies. There may be a lot of expectations, but they're not based on experience. They are based on, what they've seen or what they've heard. For a lot of people, and some people, it is based on experience, whether that's good or bad. So I'll start with what's a consultation at Florida Women's Law Group? So that I can tell you, and then I can give ideas of what happens at other firms, because I don't particularly know. I know some things, about them, but mostly when, a woman is reaching out to Florida Women's Law Group, generally they call and say, hey, I want to talk to somebody about a divorce. Okay. Well, then that's what we call is, okay, well, then you want to consult with our firm for several reasons. We use this opportunity to assist you in figuring out, what are the issues and do you want to solve them? Because I will tell you, just because you call an attorney's office doesn't mean you want to solve your problems. You might think you do, but you may not. And that is the reality, and based on my experience, and that many women call our office, not as many that call actually follow through, because I don't think they really want to solve their problem. They might want to talk about their problem, but they might not really want a solution. Well, what we do is during a consultation, we set aside time of an attorney as well as our client liaison to help you understand your situation as through the eyes of the laws. Someone may say, well, I understand my situation, one out of a marriage. Well, you might have a different understanding once we ask you specific questions. So it's really understanding your situation, how how the law applies to some extent. This is not, where we are representing you, because we're only able to advise you based on what you tell us. You may not have all the information. You may not know certain things. You may not be ready to discuss certain things. So that's what we do during that process. And because we set aside the time of our attorneys, we do charge for consultation. And I'll get into many reasons why we do. And we can talk about, why there are free consults out there.
Okay. Yeah. So that brings up so many questions, but you know what? I'm going to wait until we start really getting into the show to ask the other questions that I have. All righty. So if we go back, so you talked about what a consultation is in general. So well, what's the difference, I guess, between free and paid? And before we get into the specific, well, I guess the general difference. Is there a general difference?
Well, you get what you pay for. Let's just be honest. Are you really going to get that much that's worth it? That I say that generally, and that's for each person to decide.
That's interesting. My mom tells me that all the time. You get what you pay for. No matter what it is, you get what you pay for, Julie. All righty.
Julie, your mom is a smart woman. So.
You know what? I have to say I agree with that. So, do you get to meet with an attorney in a free consultation?
Okay, I am going to make some assumptions here, and I'm going to talk about like when I first started the firm. I'm not going to say how many years ago that was, but there was a period of time that I did free consultations. Why? I was just opening my practice. So what am I thinking? Well, I want to attract more potential people to come see me. And I didn't want a barrier that I was going to charge. And do you know what that ended up for me being? A lot of people who didn't show up, because there's no value in something free. And everybody say, well, I want it free or whatever. It's just much easier not to show up. So that I learned that many, many years ago. And that was my experience. So I'm not, I'd rather have 3 people in a day who really do want to solve their problem and are willing to pay to get some clarity and a plan potentially on how, or on whether or not we can help you solve your problem and how that would work, than 6 and half of them not show up and they don't really care. They're kind of like, oh, well, somebody said I should come talk to an attorney, but I don't know that I'm really ready. I don't know that I want a solution. So I do feel like there are those personal motivators in there, with a free versus paid consultation, which I know I'm jumping ahead, but you might meet with an attorney for a free consultation. And I think firms that are younger and maybe not as busy, they have more free time. And so they're not, they don't care about charging potentially. You may not meet with an attorney. And I know we're going to talk about the commercials and what you see about free consults, and I can explain a little bit and then, make some generalizations on that. Because I do know several lawyers who have different practice areas, maybe not in this local area, but who do offer free consults.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When someone calls for a consultation, are they usually looking for free?
I think that depends on what I started with, their experience. So, if many people just haven't had interactions with attorneys, and so they don't know, but most people do. They understand, somewhat similar to a doctor's office, maybe to medical areas, types of medical procedures where you just pay and they don't necessarily take insurance. You're going to pay to see a doctor. I mean, people should know you need to pay for a lawyer's time. And if you don't, it's just because you want to believe otherwise. You are going to pay, generally speaking, to see an attorney. And the only reason you're calling saying I want a free consult is because you've seen and watched a lot of TV. And or billboards, because for the personal injury firms, that is very prevalent. And so it would be difficult not to see that. whether TV or billboards, or radio, gosh, radio, like what we're talking about here, I mean, so you're listening to our station and you probably hear a commercial for a firm, and so yes, so I think because of that, but this is a different area of law and it's a different process that, I think it's fair to say they may think it's free, but it's really important to understand that in general, most family law firms that are busy, meaning people hire us because we're good, don't spend free time. We don't provide a free consultation.
Actually, that's exactly what I was thinking about. The fact that I see and hear so many commercials, but these are personal injury. Is that usually what that is, personal injury law firms?
It usually is. And that's what you're going to most often see in, here in advertisements and in the media. And generally, you are not meeting with an attorney during a free consultation for a personal injury, because a personal injury case, as anyone who has seen any type of advertisement, it's a contingency case. So you don't even pay. You don't ever pay unless they get you a recovery. So the attorneys don't get paid without a recovery. So they have a lot of volume, and they're going to have an intake person, maybe a paralegal, but a clerical person meet with you and really establish enough, probably if there's a case or if there's not a case, or they're going to sign you up. And then once you've signed and committed that firm can represent you, then you might get to meet with an attorney.
Okay. A clerical person that will do this. That seems like it's a gimmick.
I would say not, because you're going in there and, and I think it's, I just have a different mentality. I'm not looking to get something for free from anybody. Certainly there are people out there, but anyone who probably we want to work with as a law firm, they value our education, our expertise, and our knowledge, and they understand there's value there. And that's our job, to explain that you're getting value, and we don't, we require you to pay for that. And if you don't value it, then probably you're not a good fit for us as a client, because you don't value what we bring to the table, and that's okay. There may be other firms, but you will be paying. And if somebody brings you in and you think you're meeting with an attorney, maybe you're not. You need to ask those questions. And then the question maybe will know you're going to meet with a trained intake person, because that's how we're going to best evaluate your case. And again, younger attorneys, newer firms, they probably offer free consultations still with an attorney because they're not that experienced and they're not that busy.
But is it against the law to give free, and I'm using air quotes as if you guys can see me, to give free legal advice?
That's not a violation of our ethics or professionalism. However, you have already created a relationship with that attorney by meeting with them or that firm. And I think that people are under the impression they're going to get legal advice. And generally we don't have enough information in order to give you competent advice. And we are able to guide you and provide you with scenarios. But if somebody says you're going to get X, Y, Z and this, I would caution you. And if it sounds too good to be true, that's on you. And I think, we all have some personal responsibility. And through my career and as a business owner, I have had to become a better purchaser of services. I have needed to educate myself on this is the type of attorney this business needs. I need to educate myself and be a better consumer before I'm going to pay or to determine which attorney can help me with, whatever contracts we need or whatever we're doing as a business. And I think as an individual, it's important to educate yourself on who you are going to see and what are they giving you. And I can compare it to a lot. It's always easy for me sometimes to compare to the medical profession, because you go and say, with us, I want a divorce. Okay, it's not like we wave a wand and be like, okay, boom, you can have this divorce, in 3 weeks, and that's all you have to do. You go to a doctor and you want a procedure taken, or a procedure done, let's say an elective procedure, just to make it a little bit more closer to the law, not like insurance and things like that. But regardless, they're going to say, okay, well, we either can or can't do that for you. I mean, the doctor's going to tell you that. And then now you're going to have to do a lot of stuff before we can schedule it, like lab work, x-rays, things like that, to determine if this is, really to determine our strategy in doing this and what likely outcome there would be. Okay, so that all seems normal. You're nodding your head, right, Julie? That seems, okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? So now with the law, okay, well, we need to assess your situation. We need to understand what's your financial situation, what's the family situation. We're going to have to gather this. Now, we can tell you, yes, we can help you, but we are going to gather information to really create a strategy to achieve the outcome you want. Because in an hour, we're not going to be able to know everything there is to know. And we do want to verify it. Just like, you can go to a doctor, fill out your history, and it says nothing. They're still going to draw blood. They're still going to maybe need x-rays. They're say that's great, but maybe there's stuff you don't know. Similar here. So it's a process because we are experienced, knowledgeable professionals that focus on this area. And when you go to a consultation, again, we're going to determine and help you really understand what your situation is and what potential options there are. And then, do we want to work together? Do you want to invest like in our firm? And that takes time. We're not going to rush you through in 15 minutes and say, okay, here's the retainer, sign it up, and then we'll let you know if we can help you and how that will be. And so by having a fee for a consultation, any woman coming to our office can be assured we're not rushing you. We are spending the time. We are going to ask a lot of questions, and we're going to answer as many questions as we can based on the information you've given us. And we're going to thoroughly go through and help you understand, your situation and how we can help you. So we're going to spend the time. We're going to invest our time and really, begin to understand your particular situation. So that is why our law firm charges, because we have, we do have a lot of clients that require a lot of our time. And so if we're not going to be spending time on clients, we're going to be spending time on somebody who's not sure if they want a solution to their problem or if they want to work with us. Well, we're going to charge you because we still want to spend the time and determine if this is, if we want to work together.
You're listening to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. When we return, we're going to talk more about paid consultations. Heather was just touching on it right there. Stay with us. Welcome back to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. Heather, you were talking about what you offer at Florida Women's Law Group, obviously a paid consultation. Let's get more into that. So paid consultation, you meet with an attorney. That's a big difference between paid and free.
Right. And to clarify, Julie, I don't work in other law firms and I don't know what they do. So I don't want, and I kind of told you, maybe they have more time. Maybe they don't have as many clients and they do meet with you. I can say that most often in a personal injury situation, which is where, we started this conversation, and I don't practice that kind of law, because it's a contingency fee type case, it's different. They will most likely not talk to an attorney. So that I can I can say for sure, I don't want to, presuppose that there aren't family law attorneys out there giving free consults and spending their time with an individual.
That's fair.
So it's a good question to ask. Let's put it that way. If that's all you're looking for, and I don't know anybody in town in family law, and I certainly not anybody I'd recommend, and that's not our practice to say, well, I don't want to choose you. Who are you going to send me to? I'm probably not going to do that. But I don't know, out of all the reputable family law attorneys in Jacksonville, we did a survey a few years back, and there was no free consultation. So.
Okay, got it. And I mean, why go to the rest when you can go to the best? I mean,
Ooh, I
seriously.
like that. I like it, Julie.
All righty. So let's say that, so obviously, okay, so we're talking about paid consultations, and a paid consultation with Florida Women's Law Group, you meet with an attorney. So that is the beginning of that client-attorney relationship.
Well, it really is. And so I'll tell you this because there's something else that, I want to touch on, but these are based on the Florida bar rules. So if you come and meet with me or one of our attorneys, any attorney in our office for a consultation, but you don't hire us, we have still established a relationship because you came into the office, and as clients, you have an expectation that the information you shared with me as an attorney is confidential, and it is. And so what that means is, now the conflict stuff doesn't apply to our firm in a, man and woman relationship, because we're not going to see the husband. But if he did call our office, we wouldn't even see him because we've already met with you. Now, what will happen in the rest of the town is, if you call an attorney's office and they say, well, we have a conflict, because that's why they're going to ask you a bunch of information on the telephone. It has to do with the rules of professionalism, our ethics as attorneys. They're going to ask you your name. Yes, because we want your name. They are going to ask you your husband's name, your spouse's name, the father of your child's name. They have to do that. And prior to setting an appointment, they should be checking their database to determine whether or not they've already met with your husband, they ever used him in the past. And even if he met with them but never hired them, they can't meet with you. You cannot hire that firm. I know she's going crazy. She's going crazy, listeners.
Wait a minute. Okay, so let's think about this, really. So let's say I have someone that's really vindictive that I was in a relationship with, and he knows this information. He can call around to all these different places and establish a relationship with them.
Yes. And it can be through a consultation. And, usually, and if you're wanting to do that, you're going to pay. And basically what that's called is conflicting another attorney out. And I'm sure, I don't know, I watched The Sopranos back in the day, and when Carmela and Tony were looking to get a divorce, that's what he did. So then she's like, nobody won. A whole bunch won't meet with me, and then the other bunch know who he is and don't want to represent me. So all those things can happen. And sometimes what we find, Jacksonville's a big city, but there are a lot of little cities and smaller counties throughout Florida. And we will have women call us, and they'll be like, the top 3 attorneys in our little city, he's already met with them all. So now I have to go outside. So that absolutely can happen.
I'm speechless.
And that rarely happens, folks. Let me just tell you.
I know,
She
right?
talks for a living, right, Julie?
I really don't know what to say, because that's really vindictive. It really is. That's on another level. That's that narcissism type vindictiveness.
Well, I mean, yes, but I don't know, Julie. I mean, come on. It's being smart. And a lot of times, I, in the past, have met with women and, oh, that's like, sneaky, vindictive. I was like, or maybe it's just smart and planning. Okay. So you can play the victim and be like, oh, they did all this, or you can just, put on your big girl pants and go out there and do it for yourself, because that's the way the world works. And, I will tell you, Julie, somebody may say, oh, he was so vindictive, or I can't believe he did that. Yes, you can believe it. You were married to him. You absolutely can believe it, and you should not be shocked. And so if there is, now that's something that obviously doesn't happen here because we don't represent men. Now I did. It's probably been over 10 years. So we still have to check the conflict database on that just to make sure that, that didn't happen. So yeah, it absolutely does. And, a divorce is serious business and impacts your family, your finances, a lot of things in your life. So yeah, you might want to get strategic and be planning this. So I am not saying necessarily that's a bad thing. It can go overboard. However, I have no doubt there are certain men who would have loved to have conflict us out, but we've prevented that from happening.
Heather, I have so many other questions because one, I didn't know that you represented men at one point. Okay, so you know what? I'm trying not to get sidetracked. You said this wasn't going to be a fiery topic, but it really is. I like it.
Oh, good.
Okay, so during the paid consultation, you talk advice, strategy, options. Is that right? Is that part of it? Or I mean, are you able to really get in that deep?
It's probably not as deep as everybody wants. We all want a quick fix. We're used to Amazon world, add to cart, buy now, send tomorrow, or even get it in 12 hours. And I am absolutely that kind of person. So I understand. No, I want you to lay it all out for me now. And most people will tell them, well, that's impossible. I have not seen your bank statements. I don't know what's going on with his business. And if you're making the decision here today based on, only if I tell you this number or this scenario, then this isn't the firm for you, because we don't just throw out numbers or advice that's not based on the facts of your situation, because your particular situation is unique to you, and legal advice is your facts and we apply the law. So I might be able to, we might tell you in a consultation, from what you're telling me, which of course nobody ever remembers, because then they're going to say later, you told me I was getting alimony. What you have told me now, and based on that, I would say there's probably a possibility of that. And there's probably a possibility of some things, because that's what a good lawyer does. And we continue to gather facts and we continue to gather things to help you achieve your goal, because it's not that black and white at all. Now, if you tell me, I got married last month and I want alimony and all this stuff, I'm probably gonna be able to tell you that's gonna be a no. You've only been married a month. So that would be a different scenario. Sometimes there are some things you ask for, you'll tell us, and we'll say that probably no. However, that's where our experience and expertise comes in, to gather these facts and to try to help you achieve that, and say, well, we might have a chance. And, if we're litigating these issues, there may be an opportunity for this. So I say that because the consultation is important, because one, you're going to get information. You think it's legal advice. It is a bit, but it's more, yes, some strategic advice, and these things are some possibilities, but we will have to gather the information in order to move forward. And you're also establishing whether or not this firm and the way they do things sounds like somebody you want to work with.
I think about it. This is really, it's an investment. It's the beginning of this investment into getting out of something that you don't want to be in.
Yes.
And I like the way you talked about the fact that, you compare it to medical advice. You probably wouldn't go to a doctor that's just totally free. Unless, certain circumstances, there are physicians that offer their time and services for that. But, you want someone with as it says here, skin in the game.
Right. Well, and if you really want to solve your problem, I mean, you're already investing your time, but again, there is just a level of commitment and an appreciation of the value. because that's where, in this world, like I think I have a mug somewhere, Google doesn't equal a law degree. If that's what you want, a bunch of random information, you have the internet and go for it. But if you want our time and you really want to understand your situation and what the pros, cons, and multiple scenarios could be, that's when you go see a professional.
You're listening to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. When we return, we're going to talk more about what you can expect when you have a consultation with Florida Women's Law Group. Stay with us. Welcome back to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. So Heather, let's say that I call in. What happens when I make that phone call?
So, when you reach our office, there are, we're going to, of course, get you to our individual who really takes the calls and information, which is not the receptionist, because the receptionist is out in the common area. So she's going to assist you to a team member who can really spend a little more time. They have an office where they're going to ask you some more detailed questions. And those questions, are important because one, we do need to know your name. We need to know where you live, because divorce is state specific. We get a lot of calls sometimes from out of town, and we get a lot of calls sometimes from out of the city. And we still may be able to help you, but that's why we ask those questions. And we want to know a little bit more about your situation. So it's going to be about a 15-20 minute call, really, to gather some information and make sure that, we can help you. And many times, when somebody calls, they're nervous. Julie, I have found in my experience that women think about divorce for a really long time. And then they read about it and they Google about it. And maybe they look at different firms. It's a really big step to call a law firm and then talk to somebody, not just hang up. And and I acknowledge that, and I recognize that that's just a big step. And sometimes you call, and then all of a sudden you get a little freaked out. Your subconscious freaks you out. You're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And you want to be like, never mind, I don't want to set an appointment. And our employees and our team, they're skilled to understand that there's a lot of emotion there. And really, we do get it. We're trying to help reassure you, but get some information, and then we're going to walk you through the process and get you on the calendar. So, when you call, that's really what's going to happen. And if you do call and want some information, it is helpful if you have your calendar. And that's usually, a reason. That's just because someone's scared. They are like, never mind, I don't want to do it. And that happens, and we're still going to follow up with you, but this step of the phone call is really the first part. And, someone might say, well, why do you need to know all this? Well, if you want to come in and talk to us, and we do most of our consults virtually. We have found that is it works really well. It's very convenient. And now with the Zoom, you can really still establish a connection. So anyway, we are, really going to try to determine during that initial call, do we think we can help you? We can't. Nobody can answer that on the phone. No one, if somebody expects that you're going to get an attorney on the phone who's going to tell you whether or not we can help you, that's not going to happen. It's not. That's unethical. So I'll just let you know right there. In my And that is just a lack of professionalism. We're not going to do that. We have bar licenses. We don't just randomly spout advice unless somebody is committed to tell us who they are, what they're, and get enough information to kind of guide them. So we're going to get some basic information on the telephone and get you scheduled on the calendar to meet with an attorney and the client liaison.
Okay. That's a lot. So after I've, said that, okay, yes, I agree to this appointment, this virtual appointment, do I need to prepare? What else do I need to prepare?
Really, it's more psychological in my experience. Some women will bring all their tax returns, all their financial documents. We can't do anything with that, even on it, or want to email me. If there is something in particular that we want, we will let you know. But that, again, this is not, we're solving your whole divorce. And we are meeting with you to determine if we can help you, and then clarify your issues and problems, and then determine if you want to work with us. I mean, we may meet with you and say, you know what, I don't think this is a good fit. And really, even if you want to hire us, we don't think you're going to be a good fit for us. And that's just the truth. So it's an important part, because, we certainly don't think, not all clients are a good fit for us. If you don't want to help yourself, I don't think you're a good fit for us. I think that you should go somewhere else.
That makes me think. I wonder, and I'm not asking you to answer this at all. I wonder how many attorneys still take on clients that are not good fits for them, that are not a good fit for them, and it just doesn't work out well. That's just my thought. And I know someone else is thinking that too. But anyway.
Well, and you don't, in there, it's not like we have a checklist. It's not like, oh, that's a big red flag. But there are certainly some things, and there are questions that we ask, and it may be that, no, I don't think this is going to work we're not really on the same page, as far as our values and things that we're going to do. We're not going to do anything illegal out of integrity. We're just not going to do that. And if that's the type of representation you want, now we can't always tell that at the beginning, but we try to, understand and be very, we care enough about our clients to tell them the truth. And most of the time, that's not what they want to hear. But you're not going to get the BS from us. So.
All righty. Yeah, sometimes the truth hurts.
A lot of times it does. But isn't it true? The truth will set you free. It's better to know, and you're not going to be blindsided. And there is a way to go about it and move on with your life. And it's a stressful time when a woman comes in for a consultation. It's very nerve-wracking because, she doesn't know us, to talk about things that she probably hasn't talked about with anyone else. I get it. And usually we say that, we want to have an honest conversation with you, because our goal is to give you the information so that you can make decisions moving forward. This is not some paternalistic place where, you have some old man saying, it's okay, honey, we'll take care of it. Oh, no. You're a grown woman, and you're in here, and we're going to have a truthful conversation, and we're going to ask hard questions, and that's going to get us to what you really want and what you want out of your life and how we can help you get there. And that's you getting there. We're going to guide you, but you're the hero of your own life. We just want to get you to where you want to be as best we can. You may want to be somewhere that we're like, well, we'll get you halfway, but I can't get you, I can't get you all the way to LA, but maybe I can get you halfway or to the edge of Florida or whatever we can do, but we're on the same page, and, we're here to guide you through this journey. And we take that very seriously. And, recently we have had team meetings where, how much, sometimes I think we want our clients to succeed, maybe even more than they do, and really want them to win. And winning, like the title of this podcast, I told you, it's just getting what you want. It's not being vindictive to someone else to lose, because then I think everybody loses. But I think if you're really, out there and you have a desire to do some things that may make you uncomfortable, like being on your own or standing up for yourself, different things like that, that's what we're here to guide you to do so that you can be successful.
So while you're asking questions of them, they definitely need to ask questions of you, right?
Absolutely. I think that, and I know I have done, I know, well, there's just so much material out there, but yeah, like the questions you should ask your attorney. Absolutely. Like, when are we going to plan a strategy? How do you come up with my strategy? They should be asking you what your goals are. And if they don't, well, do you really think you're going to achieve them, or what outcomes you want? If they don't ask you those things, then that's not what they're thinking about. They're going to tell you what they think they should be. And, then that's on you. If you end up in a situation or a result that you don't like, if they didn't ask you, then they're not thinking about what you want. They're making that decision for you. And so, you should ask questions. You should want to know, like, what kind of team am I going to have working for me? Am I going to be assigned an attorney? What about a paralegal? What kind of support do you have here for me? Certainly the billing structure, and what should I anticipate with fees? We go through all of that based on your situation. So, because you have a right to know. And I would be wary if someone just quotes you this low fee and says that's a flat fee. I'm doubtful it'll get you all the way there. You need to understand that we can predict how your case is going to go a lot based on the attorney your husband hires, the behaviors that they do. And as we go through, we may be very able to tell you, in our experience, this is going to cost more, maybe more than it should, but maybe your husband doesn't want a divorce. And so maybe they're going to stall and drag it out and things like that. But yeah, that's what you want. You have a relationship with a firm. You need to have transparency and understand that, costs may be more than you anticipate. We definitely really gauge and anticipate those costs the best that we can. But obviously some things, come up.
So, and you know what, you may have touched on this and possibly in the first segment about how long is a consultation?
It averages an hour, sometimes a little over an hour, but there's a lot, as attorneys, because the attorneys are asking the questions and answering questions, we are issue spotters. And so you can tell me this whole story and they'll be listening, but we are making notes and we know what's relevant. As someone telling the story, they think everything's important, but we can pinpoint those, and we're going to ask questions to help come up with the result. This isn't an hour where you just tell us your life story. That's not going to get you the information you want. We're going to ask you very specific questions. We're going to want to know why you're here today. Why do you want to get divorced now? I mean, you've been living with the person that you've told me you hate for 25 years. What's different today? Because that's important. Like, why? Because if you are like, oh, I don't know, I just, it's like, well, I think it's important to understand why you're moving forward, because usually something has happened that, as the attorney, we should know why, it's changed now. And we're going to narrow the issues, because that's the goal. You want information on what are your possibilities. The only way we can give you that is if we are getting kind of directing and asking you questions based on what you're telling us. So if that makes sense, yeah. That's a big part of it. We're not going to sit here and talk about ourselves the whole time. That doesn't do you any good. We're going to be wanting information from you so that we can then guide you and say, okay, I think, potentially you have let's say alimony as an issue. You say you want to move. All right, well, I think we can help you get there, but you're going to have to do, there's going to be a big strategy on that. And then that comes after the consultation. You sign a retainer agreement, which is a contract, and we're obligated to you to do certain things, and you're obligated to us to do certain things. And, you can't just pay us and never answer our calls and never read the letters and never respond to us. That doesn't work. We will have to ask you to go elsewhere. We will fire you as a client if you do not communicate with us. We can't represent you.
Okay. You just said that just triggered so many other things. You said, fire me as a client. Unfortunately, we are out of time. 15 seconds. What are your parting words?
So my parting words are that if you, again, are a woman considering divorce, you've been thinking about it, and you really didn't know the first step. Well, this is the first step, is a consultation. And it is a big step, takes a lot of courage, and we acknowledge that, and we welcome you. I welcome you to call our office and schedule that initial meeting so that you begin to take control of your life and your future. So I appreciate everyone who's been listening today.
Yes, we do. Thanks so much for talking to me today, Heather. Always a pleasure.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you for listening to Women Winning Divorce. We hope you found information to help you navigate your divorce. If you like our show, please take the time to subscribe and provide a 5-star review. If you need more information, please visit our website at womenwinningdivorce.com, where you will find previous episodes and other helpful content. Join us next week as we continue our journey of women winning divorce.
When you bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive, you could save money, but it doesn't cover any terrible memories living rent-free in your head.
Remember when one of your best players got injured, but not like on a play or anything? He got injured celebrating a play, and it's not like it was a game-winning play or in the playoffs, and he was out the rest of the season because he was injured while celebrating? Yeah.
Sorry, we can't save you from that memory, but we could save you money bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Renters insurance and bundle discount not available.